Now we go live to Melissa, who's at your local town with something important for your family.
Thanks, Aaron. It's Melissa here live at this train station because tonight some very important people from the City Council will be having a meeting where they'll be discussing very important things, probably budget related, that will definitely affect you and your family.
So there was a train?
See? Trains.
Was there any significance to the trains?
How this train station plays into that is not yet apparent. Back to you, Aaron.
What if I told you that every moment you've been alive, you've been trapped in a box?
A form of control, a virtual prison. You can't see, taste, smell, touch, or hear.
What is the key?
How would you break free? How?
First of all, you just got to get control of the fact that life isn't what it used to be. It's not your grandma's life. It's not your daddy's life. It's not the American dream. If that ever existed, it has been absorbed.
You have to be asleep to believe it, isn't that what George Carlin said?
And now, this week, in the creeping horror.
The planned and paid for Baltimore riots went off without a hitch, all but securing Obama the civil rights legacy he's been looking for in that last term, when Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlins Blake said those who wished to destroy would be given space to do so.
It's a very delicate balancing act, because while we tried to make sure that they were protected from the cars and the other things that were going on, we also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm actually being told that that's a mischaracterization of her to play the clip of her saying that actually mischaracterizes her, and that even though several law enforcement sources have come forward to say that she directly gave a stand-down order, she would never, ever, 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 ever say that.
I never said, nor would I ever say, that we are giving people space to destroy our city. So my words should not be twisted.
We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
The very blatant mischaracterization of my words was not helpful today.
Gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
The production value of the Baltimore riots has obviously gone way up, and all the players involved are going for the Oscar Gold, with totally unstaged, unscripted, completely natural, organic scenes like this one. So there's Joseph Kent walking out. He's got all these cameras on him. He's by himself. It's almost 40 minutes past curfew. And they're on there talking about how you have to enforce this curfew. You got to enforce it. It's way past time. And here he is walking back and forth, telling the media to disperse. Right in front of the CNN camera. First night of the curfew, right in front of the riot police, back and forth, walking around. Oh, here comes the National Guard rolling up. And there you go. They grab him. They show the truck drive away. And the guy's gone. And in other news, a man suffering from delusions of being Martin Luther King was spotted stumbling around the Capitol.
I'm fighting all over the country, which is why we're going to do this march from here to Washington. We need the Justice Department to step in and take over policing in this country. In the 20th century, they had to fight states' rights and to get the right to vote. We're going to have to fight states' rights in terms of closing down police cases.
Sources say he had a dream. It was about a cheeseburger, a roller coaster, and a really big bag of money.
Really?
Up next is if our unaccountable, preemptive, barbarous, call it anything but don't call it precise drone program run by the CIA and responsible for the deaths of thousands of innocent women and children weren't bad enough all on its own. This week, CIA Director John Brennan decided to put in charge an abusive man who was let go for creating a hostile work environment in a deal that was surely struck in a boardroom on the 5th level of hell.
I've known John Brennan for a long time, and he's the director there, and he is a bully of the first order. He will never say anything negative or question anyone above him, but for the people below him, he is a bully of epic dimensions.
How one creates a hostile work environment at the CIA was not explained. We take you now to Aaron out in the field for an in-depth report on the loss of our freedoms as the entire country gets flushed down the toilet. Aaron?
I'm standing here in front of this school that was put on lockdown earlier today after a SWAT team raided the premises in response to a vigilant teacher that noticed a student was thinking about a gun. Once upon a time, we lived in a world where we told kids they could be anything they want to be and let their imaginations run wild. Not anymore.
Sam brought a gun to school in his book bag. Not a real gun, this plastic toy gun that shoots pellets.
Kindergarten student branded a terrorist threat. She was suspended from her school in Pennsylvania for threatening to shoot another kid. Her weapon, this Hello Kitty bubble gun.
The school took this so seriously that administrators even ordered that the 5-year-old receive a psychological evaluation.
Creativity may have gotten Josh into trouble at Park Elementary School when he was munching on a breakfast pastry.
It was already a rectangle. I just kept on biting it and biting it.
He chewed the pastry into the form of a gun.
When his teacher saw his strawberry tart,
And she was pretty mad, and I think I was in big trouble.
Josh's dad tells me he was told that his son also said the words bang bang while holding that breakfast pastry.
Remember playing cops and robbers and pretending your hand was a gun? Well, that action got one student suspended from a Columbus school.
I feel sorry for even thinking about doing that now.
That all ended because of guns. The very guns that 7-year-old Elliot Jenkins was caught thinking about here at Bluebonnet Elementary earlier today.
Well, I could just tell with that look on his face. I've watched all the behavior detection and microexpressions training videos over at the DHS website. We live in a war zone. America's a battlefield, and I saw something, and I said something.
The school was locked down, the power cut, and SWAT teams called in to secure the area, and Jenkins was arrested on site. No longer a danger to himself or his community. The school remained on lockdown several hours after Jenkins was arrested to drive home to the other students that guns were the problem and that thinking about them was as deadly as having them. Someday they're going to die or possibly go to prison. That's the message Eric Holder and others want to drive home as they brainwash kids through the schools about guns.
I've also asked the school board to make a part of every day some kind of anti-violence, anti-gun message. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Back to you, Melissa.
That thought crime sure is epidemic. Thanks, Aaron. And in other news this week, a group of Chinese researchers claimed responsibility for the first genetic engineering of a human embryo, all but ensuring that brave new world path we're being marched down by the technocratic elite will end us up in the movie Gattaca.
Genetics, what can it mean? The ability to perfect the physical and mental characteristics of every unborn child.
They're already routinely asking all elderly people over the age of 75 in the UK whether or not they're ready to die, just like Obamacare architect Rahm Emanuel's brother said that we all should. Then again, none of you probably heard about any of this because you were all too busy watching Bruce Jenner remake the Dustin Hoffman movie Tootsie, as if it somehow matters to your personal life whether or not the man decides to wear bad makeup and a dress.
On this day being January 1st and not today, the day of transmission, in 1968, John D. Rockefeller III was worried about the same thing he was always worried about, every single minute, every hour, every day of his wretched, disgusting, putrid existence. That is too many people. He said, quote, "There is no problem more important than population control." That same year, his family's foundation began quietly funding an anti-fertility vaccine, his gift to the world.
The all-new megalomaniacal burger. We start with a tender bed of arugula. Then we pile on 1.5 pounds of beef.
But that's not all. Then we pile on a pork chop, a chicken breast, and a baby pig foot.
12 strips of bacon. You got it. Then we pile on crumbles of blue cheese, ranch dressing, Swiss, cheddar, and provolone.
Then we pile on an 18-ounce super sirloin skirt and a dressing made of caramelized butterfat, walnut chunks, and cranberry walnut raspberry sizzle sauce.
This is the ultimate burger.
We guarantee you it's nothing like anything you've ever had. You only live stupid once.
Do you care if it's filled with pesticides and GMO and cause diabetes the minute it hits your throat?
No.
Why? Because we pay a tarted up, barely legal supermodel dressed in butt shorts to rub up against it in a car wash.
Who cares? You're gonna die someday anyway.
You only live stupid once, so eat it. Hi, yeah, I'm just calling you back. That's really cool. Well, I guess I should talk to you later. Hi, it's Aaron Dykes for Truthstream, and I'm not just hanging out with my favorite smart device, but I'm part of a whole new smart grid future. Yes, ordinary lampposts like these aren't just surveilling the public with semi-hidden covert audio and, depending on what street corner, cameras and smart devices to turn on and off the lamps. They're now going to be actually talking to people, because right now in Austin there's the Hello Lamppost project, which is taking place in other parts of the world too. They're asking people to use their smart devices to text and talk to inanimate objects. Anybody remember the Simon and Garfunkel lyric, "Hello Lamppost, what you knowin'?"
Hello Lamppost is a citywide art project created by London-based Pan Studio and commissioned by the City of Austin Cultural Arts Division. To play, a person picks a random inanimate object stationed on a street, sends a text with that object's identifying number, telling it hello, then has a conversation with Austin's Smart Street Furniture. Objects which are inanimate but are soon to be awakened in a Frankenstein fashion into the smart grid world. They'll become intelligent and smart and part of the Internet of Things, and will do more talking online than you or your buddies from Hong Kong possibly could. Alright, I'm going to try it out. 512-580-7373. So, that's the number for the Hello Lamppost art project. I don't know what makes it art, really. I'm supposed to say hello Lamppost, and then I'm supposed to type in the serial number and awaken and activate number 385776. And so now they won't just know that I was by this lamppost and what number I called it from, the kind of location data everyone's collecting all the time in this cool society. They're going to know exactly what I think about what it asked me and what it says. Yes, we're talking to street furniture. It's a strange new world. And so here's what it says. It said, "Good evening. Thanks for waking me up. Be honest, do you ever get afraid of the dark?" I guess that's what I get. I was talking to a lamppost. If you don't mind, I'll ask the questions. Someone told another lamppost. Of course everyone does. So it knows what someone else told another lamppost. Basically it knows everything. Here's something else I'm wondering about. How late are you allowed to stay up? This whole thing seems creepy. Are you watching me? And I just feel totally creeped, not only by the general concept and by a lot of the lampposts of today, but now by that particular lamppost asking me creepy questions. I feel more than ever like everything in the society is just watching me.
Hey Aaron, what you doing over there?
Well, the smart grid's coming soon. The Internet of Things has already been turned on, and I just wanted to get to know all the things that have been watching me so closely. Now, parking meter, I've heard you breathing really heavy on the phone line. And I know you have my credit card number. Let's talk, parking meter. What do you want to talk about? Ripping people off on streets they once parked on for free? So I said, I see you're matching up my medical history with parking location data. Good evening. Thanks for waking me up. Is everyone around here behaving themselves?
Oh God, that's the parking.
Behavior monitoring. I said I see that you're busy watching our behavior, just what I suspected you were doing. Roger that. Here's another question. I'm looking for badly parked cars. Can you see any? It wants me to tattletale on cars which may have been parked illegally. Welcome to the Internet of Things. How long until I get a cash bonus for reporting on badly parked cars? The question for you. Achoo. Excuse me, my hay fever is acting up. Do you have any allergies?
You just sneezed. Right before.
Is that ironic or extra creepy? I thought how appropriate while we're doing an art project for how we're going to live next and be listened to and tracked and talked to objects. So why don't we talk to a smart meter? We haven't talked to one yet. Here we are on the smart grid. I've got my smartphone. It's a smart meter. We're all one family now. Hey, smart meter. This is one of the loneliest interviews I've had. It's kind of like talking to someone who's impaired, and yet they're so much smarter than me. Oh, here we go. So the smart meter is here, and it has something to say, everybody. I feel like I'm a host on Sesame Street or something. Good evening. Thanks for waking me up. Is there anything important you need to get done today? Oh, that's a good point. I forgot to pay my carbon tax today. I need to pay my carbon. How would you describe the person nearest you?
Oh God, don't tell on me to the smart meter.
We're literally tracking to a smart meter. I think really not that great at conversation though. Just kind of nosy. So as the smart furniture lets us know it is watching and thinking about what we say and asking us nosy questions, we're of course being watched by human surveillance too all around us. We've been watched at least 2 intersections, but I will give you, it's strange to talk to street furniture. It's good to know we're being tracked literally on so many levels. Hello, lamppost, what you knowin'? There's a whole new meaning to this Simon & Garfunkel song. Hello, lamppost, what you knowin'? I guess they're going to know quite a lot in the smart streetlight society of the future. But thanks for being an eternal, perpetual, pervasive, all-knowing, omnipotent, invasive part of my life. Thanks.
Wow, Aaron, that seems awfully dumb. And now a clip of a chimp in a suit riding a bicycle. And finally,
what you're about to see is not a news broadcast.
The top of the food chain is dominated by psychopaths and sociopaths. They assume high levels of power in Washington and throughout government, business, media, and legal professions. While both traits are often confused and sometimes used interchangeably, they ultimately represent a lack of empathy for others and an avoidance of the rules of the game. However, sociopaths are thought to be a product of their environment. Rough childhoods, neglect, behavioral disorders, and psychopaths are thought to be just born that way, a consistent but ultimately disturbing percentage of the population. The most troubling commonalities between them remain the lack of empathy for those they hurt and a willingness to con and manipulate anyone and everyone around them.
They're power hungry. They stop at nothing.
True psychos naturally mimic human emotions and put them on display in trite and often superficial terms to draw in followers, would-be victims, and accomplices.
Recently in Washington, unfortunately, we have seen examples of the wrong kind of leadership.
But it's not as simple as psychopaths and sociopaths. This case involves an individual who displays most and possibly all of these traits from common personality disorders. He or she may appear cold or callous.
Came, we saw, he died.
Did it have
anything to do with yours, is it? No, I'm sure it did.
Lacking in remorse or guilt.
What difference at this point does it make?
Display a grandiose sense of self-importance and see others as a threat. He or she may be histrionic, narcissistic, borderline, or antisocial.
It will be next year.
Often relying on sociological tricks to deceive.
To the White House in 1993.
I actually baked some of these.
Callous unconcern or feeling for others.
Then we ought to take them out. Secretary Clinton.
Well, we're working hard. We're working hard.
Pathological lying.
The memory seemed etched in Clinton's mind.
I remember landing under sniper fire. There was supposed to be some kind of a greeting ceremony at the airport, but instead we just ran with our heads down to get into the vehicles.
Problem is, that's not what happened. And these are the pictures we recorded of the greeting ceremony when the plane landed.
Pathological lying.
We came out of the White House not only dead broke, but in debt. We struggled to, piece together the resources for mortgages for houses.
Hillary, dead broke.
Really?
Irritable and aggressive.
I suppose I could have stayed home and baked cookies and had teas, but what I decided to do was to fulfill my profession, which I entered before my husband was in public life.
Criminal versatility, glibness, superficial charm.
Oh, Clinton, I hear you've been elected king of a place with 2 men and a dog.
I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from.
I'll work to lift people up, not push them down.
And dealing with people in a way that often seems insincere or superficial.
That is exactly where it goes.
Think so?
Right there in the middle on the top. Good. Looks great, Martha.
And may feed from the unconditional high regard in which they are held.
First lady ever to be the first woman.
Cunning and manipulative.
Let's take it on back to when she was fired from her job as a staff attorney for the House Judiciary Committee during the Watergate investigation. Why was she fired? Well, let's see what her boss says. Because she was a liar, quote unquote. Because she was an unethical, dishonest lawyer, she conspired to violate the Constitution, the rules of the House, the rules of the committee, and the rules of confidentiality.
Lacking in empathy.
Here's Hillary, in her own words, laughing about how she helped get this convicted child rapist a reduced sentence.
This person may be self-absorbed.
Secretary Clinton, do you have anything to say to the people of Baltimore today? Secretary Clinton?
Selfish and intolerant of others. He or she may be provoked into a fit of destructive anger and revenge seeking.
You want me to tell you what my husband thinks? My husband is not the Secretary of State, I am. So you ask my opinion, I will tell you my opinion. I'm not going to be channeling my husband.
Rigid and controlling, or plotting and scheming.
She was using private detectives to investigate the women who were linked to her husband. Not to change him, not to reform him, not to make him a better person, but to cow the women into silence so that he could get elected president.
If you think you know what kind of pathology Hillary Clinton has and what kind of person she really is, please submit in 1,000 words or less a warning to society about the creature attempting to attain the highest office in the land. Just how much destruction could be done to the country, its founding principles, and the people who live in it is anyone's guess. Submit yours by joining the NAME HILLARY'S Pathology Contest today. It may depend on you.
The winner of the NAME HILLARY'S Pathology Contest will receive their very own copy of It Takes a Village, her best-selling book. And you'll notice this copy has no burn marks on it because even though we decided to try and set it on fire, it wouldn't die. This book wouldn't die. We'll sign it and announce the winner on the next episode. That's it for Truthstream News. Please support this channel if you like this show because the state is never going to. Good night and Godspeed.
Indeed.
All the remotes. All of them. Mine. Mine.
Yeah, that was good.
So good?
You done?
Yep.